Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 Morning Talk today. This is May 13th, 2022. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you're on your goals and your plans. Hope things are moving in the right direction. And even if they're not in the right direction, this is a time to kind of get them back in the right direction. Take it one day at a time. And if you somehow went off your streak, keep going and start again, start a new streak. I think I'm at 707 or 708 or something, 708, and we're moving ahead. But this took 45 years to get to this point, guys. So hopefully you do your streaks a lot earlier than I, a lot less time, I guess I should say. So hope you guys doing well. Please continue to donate and give feedback, comments. Had some great comments yesterday. Dex had a couple other ones I'm going to try to focus on over the next few weeks. I have a good list of topics now for the next week, 2 weeks to kind of focus on. So we'll continue doing that. I also going to try to do a weekend one, if I get the chance, on the Fountain of Youth and the Ho Chi type of thing, in order to kind of heal yourself in some ways if you can. So I'm going to kind of focus on those type of things as we go along, but hope you guys are doing well. All right, so we're going to talk about a topic that I think is a very interesting one, especially from a mental standpoint. And it's not a physical type of thing necessarily, because a lot of the energy we're talking about is mental. And even when people talk about losing energy, there is an emotional side of it, like we talked about yesterday. But the idea that you really want to focus on not only having physical type of qualities, but also the mental type of qualities to stay on your streak, because a lot of it is mental, especially in trying not to start the ideas and thoughts of running down the road of temptation. You want to go ahead and focus on the right thoughts, moving towards your goals and things like that. So when we talk about this, it is an interesting type of thing, because depending on how you think about certain circumstances, it can be good or bad. So I was watching a basketball game yesterday, and I'm always kind of amazed a little bit of the psychological aspect of things, not so much the physical, because people are good. I mean, if they're professionals, they're good, basically. The difference is the mental approach between some of these professionals. Now, there's a player, and I won't mention any names, but there's a player that was a superstar who did not really play well in a big game. And those things happen to all of us at some point in time. But the thing is, we realize a lot of it is a mental type of aspect of things. Not so much the physical, but it's the mental type of aspect of how to handle the situation. And for a reason, the person played really well and does a great job in all kinds of situations, except the situation where, there's money on the line, or there's a playoff type of game, or doing something where there are a lot of, pressure, stress, things like that. And that happens to us pretty regularly. We always in those type of situations, and what you have to do is you have to learn to be strong even when there's hard times or tough times. And the key to all of that is to be able to kind of, in your mind, in your picture, realize that you can succeed in this. And that's going to build hope. That's going to build any sort of enthusiasm, ideas on how you can go ahead and try to achieve this idea you're thinking about. And so we talk about success, and you have to kind of look at success not only in the sense of the physical, but also the mental part of the game. And that's what really is really a mental type of thing, in order to get yourself to the point of saying that I can achieve this, and I know I can do it. If you know you can do something, or you know you can't do something, you're correct, as Aristotle used to say. And what Aristotle meant by that was, how you think is how you end up going to behave. If you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself, if you feel like that any kind of temptation along the line is going to trip you up, then you're going to have trouble. It's going to be hard to do that. And I went through that at different times in my life, especially early on when I didn't have that kind of confidence to be able to fight this. And so a battle has to be won up here first. Not down, not in the body. It has to be up here. So when you look at great warriors and you look at people fighting battles, they know that they're not going to lose. Now, obviously, they may not end up winning everything in the long run, but they know that their mental approach is, I will not lose. And when it gets tougher and tougher and tougher, they've got to bring out that attitude more and more and more. And that's why we say that a lot of the things that we're talking about really are mental. So how do we approach this when it comes to our journey? Well, of course, there's going to be a lot of stressful types of times as you are going through your journey. And when you're talking about stress, you have to go ahead and kind of say the temptation, the birds flying over your head. And, as long as they don't nest in your head, you're okay. But a big part of that is the mental type of game. What is it from a mental standpoint that's making me, go into temptation? I have to stop that. So in your mind, you have to say to yourself, no, I'm on a long-term journey here. This is a lifetime type of thing. And I'm going to, no matter what the situation is, I'm going to be strong. I'm going to say no. I'm going to focus on my goals. Now, how do you do that? I know we had a couple questions about, once again, losing energy and those type of things. And I'm going to get to all those little by little as we go along. But the idea is, again, is that you have to form a mental picture and know what you want to be, what you want to look like. If you focus on your goals, if you focus on who you want to be, you won't have time for some of this other stuff. And that's where the key is going to be. A lot of times we get caught up in these temptations because we're bored. We want some level of excitement. So, people go out and gamble because they want a little of excitement, right? There's always a chance of them winning or losing, and the excitement gets them all kind of riled up. The same thing involves meeting people, right? You don't know whether or not this person is going to like you or not, and that thrill of whether being rejected or accepted is always there. This is why people, I believe, meet new people all the time and try to have one-night stands and all this stuff, because to them, it's more exciting and those type of things. Now, after a while, I don't think it becomes exciting anymore. It becomes another boring type of task. And then so people, they can't develop relationships because they've done these things too many times, and they've kind of lost their soul with this thing. But the idea that you're trying to look at is the idea that you want to have goals and ideas and have a zest for life, a thrill for life, a vigor for life. You want to have a vigor for life to be able to keep going. No matter how old you are, no matter what position you're in, you don't want to start a mental attitude of saying, oh man, I got to go through another day at work. I hate my job. I hate my life. All these type of things. This creates a lot of negative images in your mind. And you got to stay away from that at all costs. Stay away from that kind of stuff. And I had that problem for years, that I would go ahead and kind of think negatively. Now, I didn't realize I was doing that. And this is why I kind of bring it up. But studying communications over the years, I realized that was exactly what was happening. You're talking yourself into defeat and worry and depression and all these type of things, when in fact you don't need to actually do that. And I think that's the biggest thing it is. And one of the biggest things you have is fear. And the fear of these type of things keeps people in check, no matter what you're talking about. The fear of dying, the fear of rejection, all these things are fears that people have. I remember that Franklin Roosevelt had a great saying. He said, you have nothing to fear but fear itself. And the fear is what creates problems for people. People become too scared, and they allow things to happen, which bothers them, and they don't get things done, and then that gets them into more temptation, and they try to reduce stress in the way they can, and they do this all through the wrong ways. So when you look at this, the idea that you're talking about and focusing on the stress level, you have to kind of, in your mind, once again, be able to deal with that. And dealing with that is really kind of up here. So you win the battles in this war that we're in up here first. And that's the whole key to the situation. You win the battles upstairs. You win the battles first there. You create a picture of success. You're not going to take no for an answer. You will never lose, never give up. And even if things don't go your way, you're going to continue on moving in another direction, but you're going to continue moving on. And you're never going to give up. And that's the whole thing too. Never give up. Never give up. The only time you ever fail, in my eyes, is when you eventually give up. Because then mentally, that's when you've decided, okay, I'm done. And when you think that terms, then all of a sudden, now you start feeling that way, and you start actually behaving that way. The thought comes before the action. The actions come after the thoughts, and so if you think yourself you're going to fail, well, you're going to fail. Eventually. Because you put yourself in that position. So when times get tough, you're resorting back to the old attitude, and whether the attitude is good or bad, those things go on. So when you got stressful situations, like someone's approaching you and they want to have intercourse with you, but you don't really want to because you're on your streak, well, there's a case where you're going to be a lot of stress. And you're going to have to kind of say no. And those are going to be tough situations. But in the head, before all that, if you're in your mind preparing yourself for those situations and you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is going to be the way I respond to this, then you have a much easier time. You won't let the birds just kind of sit up and nest in your head until you make a decision, which may be too late, to try to fight it. And this is where the mental attitude comes in. All right, so interesting seeing this basketball game where you have a person who's a very good player who just did not play well. And I know they call it choking and all kinds of other stuff, but it's really a mental type of thing. It's more of a case where the person is just mentally, whatever frame they're in at the moment, they're just not the same as they usually are. And so they're not performing as they usually do. And this is the kind of thing you have to kind of look at when it comes to temptation. You have to make sure you're on your game all the time. And then you have to make sure that you're always in the battle. And you're always thinking about how you can win this battle. And this is where the thought is that you're not going to accept defeat. And that's the key thing. I will never accept defeat. Now, I was fortunate enough and blessed enough to learn this lesson early on. But it took me, like I said, even after 45 years, I have to admit that there was times that I wanted to just kind of give up. And I said, I'm not going to fight this anymore. And I'm glad I didn't. Because I finally got to the point after 45 years that I was able to actually put a streak together. And I will never give up in trying to continue the streak and get my goal of 12 years if I can get there. A long time, but I think certainly it's very doable. So, all right, my friends, well, that is the day's inspiration. Hopefully gave you a little inspiration today. And hope you guys have a great day today. Today is May 13th. 2022. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, a good weekend. Stay cool if you're in spots like I am in the Midwest where it is pretty hot. It's been hot the last few days. So stay cool. Time to put the air conditioners out and get that central heating going. All right, guys, have a great day, and we will talk soon. God bless you guys, and battle on.